Hey everyone, this is Billy Price, co-founder of Billy Footwear, and we are here with another awesome episode of Open Book. For those out there that are not familiar with Open Book, first off, I love Open Book. I love Open Book because the literal side of it is like we are opening up a book, and I'm an open book. Jen here is an open book, and we love to tell stories. So it's an opportunity for us to tell a little bit about the brand, but it's also an awesome opportunity to allow those that we partner with to tell their amazing stories. So today we're going to be talking about anything's possible. We have Jen here. She is a mom. She is a wife. She works for the federal government in spreadsheets, I guess. Like that sounds amazing. But in her spare time, somehow she is the executive director of Anything's Possible. So Jen, welcome to Open Book.
Hi, Billy. Thank you so much for having me on today.
Oh, it's my sincere pleasure. And, you know, as we were starting up this call before we hit record here and to share everyone here, I was biting my lip because there's so many questions I want to ask. And I think the great starting point here would be, could you start by bringing us into the know about what is Anything's Possible?
All right. I'll try to be brief in our tagline, but there's a little bit of a backstory, like with most organizations. So Anything's Possible was founded and created to make service dogs accessible to children with disabilities. So that could be anything from mobility assistance to behavioral and therapeutic support or psychiatric support. So there's psychiatric service dogs that can help with mental illness for children ages 5 to 18 years of age. So, we basically got started because of a very personal, close story to us that we stumbled upon, I guess, the option of a service dog for our own son. So Anything's Possible, founded by me and like an awesome board of strong, powerful moms and women and executives in their field. As most good ideas over a glass of wine come up, you know what? Like, I think we need to make more of an impact in the world. And our son, Colton, he is 4 years old and he was diagnosed with cerebral palsy at the age of 9 months. In the midst of COVID, which on a lot of your open books, some of these stories just kind of evolve out of really tough times, rough times. So as you can imagine, that was a gut-wrenching diagnosis to get as a parent. And my husband, myself, my daughter, we all just threw ourselves into the process to try to help Colton the best that we could. So therapies, speech therapies, physical therapy, occupational therapy, all over a computer screen, all moving up, fast forward to age 2 or 3. And Colton is developing and progressing, but has a walker. So a piece of durable medical equipment that kind of, imagine a miniature walker that you would see, you know, the elderly use in the community or what have you. That's what he would use to get around. And my husband and I were trying to think creatively about ways we can get him to use his body in different ways without such a reliance on durable medical equipment that couldn't necessarily go off-roading, if you will. So the idea of service dogs came up into our head, and we poured ourselves into looking to see, hey, I've never really seen a service dog with a 5-year-old, have you? Like, it's not something you see every day. So we scoured the internet and did a bunch of research and stumbled upon just a few organizations that will work with children as young as 5. And we are lucky and grateful enough to have found our partnered organization, Healing House, that's not far down the road from us, that will work with kids and families from ages 5 to 18. So we had a meeting, got all the information about what we need to do to move forward. And then the big reality of what is this going to cost us to get this resource for our son. And if you don't know anything about service dogs, it can cost anywhere from $40,000 to $60,000 to train up a service dog. This is these working dogs are a piece of medical equipment that are necessary for these children or, you know, adults that use them to get through their day-to-day functions. So I was sitting across a table from the executive director, and I'm like, wait, how many people get where I'm sitting and are like, we can't do this. While they try as hard as they can to offset all the training costs, there's still a very significant cost, close to $20,000 pushed on the families to acquire said service dog. And unfortunately, the answer back was, you know, a lot of people can't make it happen. And immediately I knew I had to talk to my friends and family and do something about that. So that's kind of how Anything's Possible started. We want to advocate, educate, and bridge the financial gap to make service dogs accessible to kids who could really benefit from them.
Well, first off, the name is perfect.
Thank
The
you.
name is absolutely perfect. I mean, Anything's PAWSible,
Yeah.
because anything is possible, but then incorporating like the service dogs. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, so I'm a wheelchair user myself, and I've considered having a service dog, and I've yet to pull the trigger, but I think it'd be absolutely incredible. But I know that just on my side, one of the challenges was just the availability. I mean, just the
Yes.
supply of being
Yes.
able to, have trained dogs. So, can you talk a little bit about that? Just the supply of dogs?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's hard enough for adults in need, or, read a lot about just the adult special needs or disabled community, like having a really hard time getting access to service dogs. And like you're saying, it's really a supply and demand issue. And, having enough advocacy groups or educational groups, such as Anything's Possible, to really pump the need for such organizations. Like there really is a need coming from the community. So more and more folks that are interested in like dog training or working with service dogs or getting that skill set behind them and just take the leap and go out there and either partner with an existing service dog organizations to funnel more resources towards them to make them more available, or just go out and use all your tools and resources and start something yourself. Because I mean, it's hard enough for adults to get in this sometimes very long line to wait for a dog, let alone a child. Like I said earlier, my husband and I were just grasping at straws to just do something different outside of the more traditional therapies, which are amazing, by the way. We love our therapy team. We wouldn't be where we were without them. But with cerebral palsy, there's still a lot of fungibility in the brain. If you don't know much about CP, it occurs from a deprivation of oxygen during a traumatic incident at birth, which is something Colton and I went through together. And there is time to help work remap the brain, if you will. And there's no time like the present. You start early, you start working and providing those tools. So I didn't mean to trail off there a little bit, but going back to your point about the need, I mean, if it's hard enough for adults and there's no one advocating for the children, like we absolutely need Anything's Possible in organizations such as ourselves to really show and prove like the immeasurable benefits that can occur with these children starting younger and having service dogs throughout the course of their life to overcome some of these pretty heavy obstacles and giving them more independence, more self-confidence, more companionship and love, and in some cases just be more approachable to other children that like don't look, talk, sound like them, and, is really important. So I think it's really it should be embedded in the foundation, and it is, of Anything's Possible, to really talk more and have that conversation and really stress the importance of service dog organizations, of supporting, hey, if the money's not coming to Anything's Possible, it needs to be going to these other groups so they can keep providing the services to all the families and kids in need.
So Colton, what's the name of Colton's dog?
His dog's name is Keanu.
Keanu.
Like the Reeves. That's why I think
Gotcha.
Keanu Reeves. But that entire litter for his graduating class, almost all of them were named after some, tropical island name. We have a Maui in the group. There's a Hoku, Leilani. Lots of fun names. We don't get to pick the name, but we would not change it for the world. Keanu is made for Colton. They were it was an amazing pairing between the two of them.
So, okay, so a couple things here. First off, let me put your website up here. So on the screen right here, and also with my words on the screen, we have the website. It's Anything PAWSible. So ANYTHINGS then VA.com at the end of it. And I wanted to say that on the main landing page here, there is a video at the bottom that gives a lot more description of what we're talking about. But I was hoping, Jenn, with your words, can you describe or can you paint the picture of what it's like when Colton's with Keanu?
Oh, try not to get choked up. It's pretty emotional to see the two of them together. Colton, he he has gotten through, you know, he's pushed himself through a lot of his physical challenges and obstacles throughout his life, but he is a strong, loving, happy, independent little dude. But there are a lot of times where he needs to reach out. He needs to reach out for myself, my husband, you know, grandma, or his sister for help. And we recently just got a custom harness for Keanu that's more structural support. It's got metal and leather in it, so Colton can really grip on for him. And seeing the two of them together, like, Keanu just knows, like, he needs me and I have to be here for him. So, you know, he is just a puppy when he's out of that vest or that harness, but when he puts it on and Colton is just like, all right, mom, like, he gets a little, you know, he puffs his chest out a little bit. He gets a little excited. He's like, okay, let's go. And literally his voice will squeak. And then I'm like, okay, buddy, are you ready? Like, calm yourself and get your balance. With cerebral palsy, sometimes there's a little bit of dystonic movement and high tone. And then I'm like, all right, boys, you ready to go? And we'll say, let's go. And Keanu, even though he's so strong and so stable for Colton, like, he slows his body down. He slows his movement down to make sure he's in cadence with myself or my husband as the handlers and Colton. And the most amazing thing to see is the simplest things that you take for granted: stepping off a curb, stepping onto the stoop to get into your front door, which Colton cannot do unassisted. He cannot do it by himself. And then just telling Keanu to step, both big old paws go straight on the step. And he is just strong, hard, fast for him. And Colton, he just is patient and lets Colton work through it. I don't need to hold Colton's hand. My husband, Nick, doesn't need to hold his hand. It's leave that little thing that we take for granted every day, a step, one big step. Colton's able to do it, and he'll look at you, and then Keanu will look at me, of course, for a reward. We're still in some training, and he's just so proud of himself, and we're proud of him. And just that feeling for him, like, mom, I can do this. Like, I didn't need you, is incredible. It's like, I mean, I'm talking a lot. Obviously, it's emotional, but it is hard to put in words the emotion that you feel in that moment, watching him conquer something he couldn't do before. He's Colton is a fall risk for sure. We've had a couple pretty gnarly falls that send us to the ERs. Most recently had to get staples removed. We don't want to hover, right? We don't want to be helicopter parents. We want to push him to push beyond his boundaries, but there are limitations to his body. And he's just all boy. He's all 4-year-old, like, rearing to go. And sometimes it can be dangerous. And it's just so comforting from a parent's perspective. Like, Keanu is going to keep you safer. He's going to make sure you fall less. And he's going to be there to, you know, be your hard rock, like, in the end of the day.
Well, it's so wild because it's a literal step, but it's also just such a figurative step into, like, more confidence and
For
just
sure.
moving forward. And I mean, just the mental health to be able to, I don't know. I mean, just to create this drive to be able to move forward, however that's going to look like. I mean, wow. So I'm curious, with anything PAWSible, like, what's your reach? I mean, is it just focus? Because I know you're in the Northern Virginia area. Is it just the Northern Virginia area, or can someone like states away also take part in anything PAWSible?
So right now we are smaller and more local. We are a very small team of just 5 ladies, and we only have so much time at our disposal. But the future is to expand out for sure. Like I mentioned earlier, we partnered with Healing House, and, you know, the resources alone needed for just an entire graduating class to, you know, move forward and help, you know, get financial support to obtain their dog could be almost more than what we could actually work for into a year. But I mean, I mentioned previously, we're kind of a baby nonprofit, and this is just one step, like what you're talking with Colton, to help as many people as possible, pun intended. But yeah, we're local right now. We've only been a nonprofit, like, really raising money for about 18 months now. And in our first year, we were able to fund nearly $30,000 of our grant applicants to get resources to, get a dog, but we would love to expand beyond there. And really, like I said, a pulse from the community, a pulse from those people, supply and demand. If we can show that there's a need for it and we can continue to, garner support from all across the nation, we can definitely get bigger. There are other organizations across the U.S. that provide support to kids, and we would love to be there. And we're just working our way up there one step at a time. You can't eat an elephant in one bite, just one bite at a time.
That's a good analogy. I love that. That is such a good analogy. So I'm on the website right here on this other screen right here. Is there an area that one can go and, right there it is, donate. It's on the main landing page. Okay, perfect. Wow. So Jenn, I want to be respectful of your time here, but for everyone else out there, I'm going to bring the website up once again. So it's anything PAWSible. So anything, and then it's PAW, like PAW, PAWSible, VA.com. Another thing on social, it's the same handle. Again, anything PAWSible, VA on both Instagram and Facebook. And boys, for support on their website, there's a couple things right on the main landing page. There's Colton's story. Scroll down a little bit farther. There's a fantastic video that gives even more detail about what we talked about today. But in addition to that, there's a big old donate button. So, if you feel so inclined, please hit that donate button and help them out, because it really is incredible what the power in that bond that happens with a service dog. And I don't know, I have not had a service dog, but I've seen it firsthand with so many of just the growth that happens. And it's just, it's more than just a little friend. It's just this empowerment. So
for sure.
Jenn, is there anything else you'd like to share before we bid our guests adieu?
Oh, yeah. First and foremost, thank you for having us and letting us share a little bit about our background and story. But one of the ways that we do raise funds for local children in need is we host a massive festival and 5K every year. And our next one's coming up in April. So, for any of you out there watching, we have virtual 5K tickets where you can purchase them and participate from afar. Or if there's anyone local in Northern Virginia, come out. Like, it's not your normal 5K. It's something special to have this 5K. It's all inclusive, family friendly, dog friendly, all ability friendly. We have a course that is accessible to any stroller, wheelchair, any type of device. And then after the 5K, there's a festival. You come out, you have a great time, food, drinks, raffles, all types of silent auctions from lots of professional teams in the area to really just garner support and that feeling of community. And this year we're very fortunate. We're going to have some grant recipients at a meet and greet table to really talk a little bit more about their story and really let folks know, number one, thank you for all of your support to Anything's Possible. And you made this possible for our family, for our child, and just get firsthand testimonials. Our son Colton may have been the inspiration behind all of this, but it's just the beginning. So there's so much more work to be done and so many more children and families to help. So definitely check it out on our page. There's a big events button with lots of information there too.
So good, Jenn. There's so many things about that I absolutely love. I mean, one is it's so inclusive. What you described, everything is so inclusive.
Yes.
But what it also does is it's just screaming community. And I say this quite a bit. When we work as a community, we work together. There really isn't anything that we can't do, and anything truly is possible, right?
Right. Yeah. You can't stop saying it. It's so, yeah, it's punny and it's awesome. And you just have to just embrace it. But, and thank you to you and your partnership too. I mean, as we continue to grow and get bigger and more folks are going to, be able to use affiliate links and, donate by not only supporting you, but supporting us. It's a win-win situation. And we're just so excited I would love to see Billy footwear on every little kid in town.
Me too. That'd be awesome. Yeah. Every time I see someone wearing the shoes, it's so special to me. And it's, I love to go up and go oh my gosh. I mean, how do you like your shoes? I'm Billy, Billy footwear. And it's just so much fun to have
I bet that's so cool.
That as a conversation starter.
Oh yeah. I get that. I know how I feel when I see one of our race bags from our first event on someone in town. I'm like, oh, They like us. They like us. So it's got to be pretty cool to provide something that is so inclusive and accessible to so many kids and, you know, adults out there that may need a little extra help or flexibility with their shoes. And it's not just for special needs. You know, it's for everybody. So we're all going to have Billy footwear kicks all around the house here soon.
Well, Jenn, similar to what you're talking about for your nonprofit, we've done a lot, but there's still so much to do. And we have such a drive to be able to rise and meet that demand. And, you know, as I said earlier, we're going to do it together. So that's very exciting.
Thanks. I'm happy to be part of it and happy to be teamed up with you guys for sure.
Yeah. Well, Jenn, thank you so much again for your time. Everyone else out there, this is another episode of Open Book. We'll have a lot of what we talked about in the show notes and with links to be able to point you to the stuff we talked about. Anyway, but other things we talked about, I hope you enjoyed it. And we'll have another episode of Open Book again real soon. So until then,